On this episode, I will be talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 17, which took place early this morning at the Tokyo Dome. That's all tonight, right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Welcome, wrestling fans, to 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I am your host, Lance Brock, for January 4th, 2023. Before I get into this episode, just a reminder, this morning's episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans, I talk about my pick for Woman Wrestler of the Year in 2020. So check that out. And in case you haven't heard any of the other episodes yet either of the debut week of Good Morning Wrestling Fans, Monday was Wrestler of the Year. Yesterday was Tag Teams. And like I said, tomorrow isn't off Thursday, so I will not be walking to work tomorrow morning, and I'm going to discuss the best matches of 2002, and I have to admit I really couldn't decide on just one match to pick for match of the year, so I'll be discussing some of my favorite matches of the year. That is tomorrow morning. Good morning, wrestling fans. So make sure you stay tuned right here on Spreaker or wherever you listen to the podcast at. And without any further ado, let's get into Wrestle Kingdom 17. New Japan Pro Wrestling, their annual January 4th show at the Tokyo Dome. And this is one of the biggest ones in the last couple years. Of course, because of COVID, they had smaller attendances. There was no cheering allowed at shows, and this was the one with more hype and bigger matches on it. The return of Kenny Omega. We saw a debut on the show as well. Well, I'm sure everybody knows it's been talked about lately who the debut was going to be. But let's get into it. Our commentators, Kevin Kelly, Chris Charlton, Gino Gambino. I think this is a very good commentary team. That is one of the things I definitely enjoy about watching New Japan. Kevin Kelly, he's great. I'm going to say he was one of the main commentators when he was in the WWF, but when he was in Ring of Honor, he did a fantastic job, and now he's doing an even better job in New Japan. And also Chris Charlton, he is good as well to talk about the history of Japanese wrestling, and I used to listen to him on Japanese audio wrestling with W.H. Park back in the Law days. And this show is also a memorial show for Antonio Inoki, the founder of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we started things off with TJP and Francisco Akira. They defeat the Chaos team of Leo Rush and Yo to retain the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships. And not a bad match here. I thought this was a pretty good opener. Some junior tag team action. Next up, the IWGP Women's Championship is on the line, and Kairi defeats Tam Nakano to retain the championship. This one is kinda kept short, only about 5 minutes or so, but it was very good though. This was a very hard-hitting, fast-paced match, even though it was kind of short, still very good. Definitely one of those good, hard-hitting matches, and definitely worth checking out if you have not seen it. And next, it's been talked about that she's coming to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we see her make her way into the Tokyo Dome, and it is the former Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Moné, and she is introduced as the CEO, and she's announced as a 7-time singles champion. Her new theme music is talking about money a lot, and she wears this kind of, I don't know if it's like a crown or a hat or something, and kind of like a Japanese robe, and then she gets into the ring. Kairi holds up the belt, and then she drops her right in the middle of the ring, calls for a microphone, and she cuts a promo, and she challenges Kairi to a match for the IWGP Women's Championship February 18th at Battle in the Valley in San Jose, California. So that should be a very good match right there. I'm definitely looking forward to that. And right now, you can order this show on Fight.tv or the Fight TV app for February 18th. I definitely recommend ordering that show. And next up, the IWGP Tag Team Championships are on the line. And we see Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi defeat FTR. And now FTR has lost all of their tag team championships. They lost the Ring of Honor tag team championships to the Briscoes. They lost the AAA tag team championships this past weekend, and now they have lost the IWGP tag team championships to Goto and Yoshihashi. Really good match though. Another hard-hitting match here, just like the women's one. And good match here. So that is the reason why FTR will not be on Dynamite tonight. And the IWGP World Television Championship for the first time is decided in the next match. And Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Ren Narita with a submission. Really good match here. And just like back in WCW, all TV title matches will have a 15-minute time limit. And really good match here. Hopefully they will let Zack Sabre Jr. have a long run with the championship. Next up, another championship match. The IWGP Never Openweight Championship. Carl Anderson, representing WWE and the OC, taking on Tama Tonga. And there wasn't, even though there was no mention of this on WWE programming, which I'm not surprised. But it is Tama Tonga defeating Carl Anderson to win the Never Openweight title. And Luke Gallows wasn't with him. I'm not too surprised because he was at Raw Monday. So, and he was all by himself. And I'm guessing this is the last we will see of Carl Anderson in New Japan. At least I think so anyway. But another pretty good match there. And next up, 6-man tag team match. Keiji Muto, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Shota Umino defeat the team of Naito, Sanada, and Bushi, representing LIJ. And this was Muto's last match in New Japan Pro Wrestling. This was a really good match too. I definitely enjoyed this one. And in the finish of this one, Muto allows Umino to pick up the victory in this one for the team, pinning Bushi. Very good match, once again. Now at Wrestle Kingdom, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship is on the line in a 4-way match, and Hiromu Takahashi defeats Taiji Ishimori, El Desperado, and Master Wato to win the title. Ishimori was the champion going into this one, and very good match. Of course, had a lot of dives, a lot of other high spots in this one, but it is Takahashi getting the win to become the new junior heavyweight champion. And for a while now, I have been a fan of Takahashi for his in-ring work, for his character, though. He's got this charisma about him. And during the match, Chris Charlton says he is told in his ear that Pro Wrestling Noah's faction Congo is confronting Los Ingobernables de Japón backstage while they were talking to the press about the match. So that looks like it's going to set up a feud. I understand they're going to have singles matches with each member of the two factions. And now it is time for Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP United States Championship. This was one of the most talked about, most hyped matches going into the card. This match, probably my pick for match of the night. This was fantastic, and Omega at one point takes off one of the turnbuckle covers, and it is definitely used. The exposed turnbuckles are exposed in this one, or used I should say, and there's this crazy spot where they're up on the top, and Omega hits Ospreay with a DDT on the exposed turnbuckle, and Ospreay goes to the floor. He is busted open, and he is a bloody mess. And it looks like it's over. Omega has him beat. The commentators, Kevin Kelly, Chris Charlton, are talking about how they think Red Shoes, the referee, should stop the match. They don't think Ospreay can continue, but Ospreay does end up making a comeback in this one. And Will Ospreay will not stay down. But in the end, it is Omega hitting the One-Wing Angel around the 30-minute mark of this match to get the win, to once again become the new IWGP United States Champion. Once again, this was a fantastic match. And even though Will Ospreay is normally a heel with they're in New Japan, and this one was just, he was like a baby face in this one to the Japan crowd. I guess since Omega has been gone for a while in AEW. And now it is time for the main event of the evening. Katsuchika Okada challenging for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship to take on Switchblade Jay White. And on commentary, for the Japanese commentary anyway, Masahiro Chono and Jushin Thunder Liger. They got the legends here for this one. Another great match on this show. Gato tries to get involved to help Switchblade. And Jay White was fantastic in this match. And Okada, obviously, great as well. And Okada defeats Jay White to once again become the IWGP Heavyweight Champion and to close out Wrestle Kingdom. But then, after the match, he is interrupted by Shingo, and Shingo interrupts him during his celebration, and he challenges him to a match. And we're not quite sure when this match is going to take place. I was just listening to Post-Wrestling's post-show, and John Pollock was saying it could take place at one of the New Beginning shows. I agree with that. Probably Osaka could see that happening. And definitely a great show from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And maybe just the casual wrestling fan, this might not be a big deal as like a WrestleMania, but I'm sure for like the hardcore fans, just like myself, this is almost just like a WrestleMania. Look forward to it every year. And even though, like I said, the last couple years with all the COVID restrictions and in New Japan, the fans not being allowed to cheer or anything, it kind of put a little bit of a damper on things. But this year, there was hype and buzz around it with Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, Okada and Jay White, and of course with Mercedes Moné making her debut. I definitely recommend you check out New Japan Wrestle Kingdom either on NJPW World. It is definitely worth the price of the subscription. And tomorrow, early tomorrow I should say, if Eastern time anyway, 4:30 a.m. is New Year Dash, which Wrestle Kingdom is kind of like the season finale for New Japan, and then New Year Dash sets up the new angles going forward into the new year. And to get into a little bit of news, on WrestlingInc.com, Tokyo Joshi will present TJPW Live in Los Angeles. And for the first time, a Joshi promotion has ran a show here in the United States that will take place March 31st, 2023 at the Globe Theater in Los Angeles, which I believe is the same venue where PWG has been running, isn't it? I want to say, so that is definitely good for when it comes to Japanese pro wrestling here in the United States. And like I mentioned during the Wrestle Kingdom recap, Battle in the Valley, February 18th in San Jose. Some more news. The identity of Uncle Howdy from last Friday night on SmackDown has been revealed, and it is, what I've seen is former Ring of Honor star Vincent, and most recently he was in Impact Wrestling as a part of the faction Honor No More. I don't know that for sure if that's been 100% confirmed, but when you look at it, it's not really too far-fetched as him. But even if it was him last Friday night, that doesn't mean that it is always going to be him going forward into the future. And I better wrap this episode up. I'll try to talk some more news on the next episode, which might be tonight, to recap Dynamite, the first Dynamite of the year, with the new look of AEW. And we're supposed to maybe find out a tease or a hint of who will be Soraya's partner next week. But like I said, right now it's 7:57 p.m. So I better wrap up real quick so I can get to TBS for AEW Dynamite. Thank you for listening. And hey, all I gotta say is it's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Until the next episode, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.